Welcome back to the Win a Pageant podcast. I am so glad that you are here today because this interview is a very special interview with a friend and client of mine, Barbara Komondor. Now, one of the most amazing things about Barbara is that she's never met anybody that she can't call a friend. She's truly such a beautiful soul, and what she's created with her legacy project called That Special Touch is ever evolving. So today on the podcast, we're actually going to talk about how she got started to compete in Mrs. Pageant competitions, and also how her platform has evolved into a legacy project and what is coming next for her. So tune in to today. Without further ado, let's welcome Barbara Komondor. Hi there, Barbara. Welcome to the Win a Pageant podcast. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Hi, thank you for having me. This is great.
Yeah, I know. And it's so fun knowing that you are I feel like you are a hometown sister of mine, being from Pennsylvania. All of our interactions remind me of home. I'm like, oh yeah, I know those people, I know those places, so it's cool to have a touch of home here with me today.
Yes, you need to come back to visit and
I know.
Tour again.
You're right. I got plans to see my mom still. So I will be coming around. Yeah.
There you go.
So I want to hear a little bit because you compete in Mrs. Pageants, and people who are relatively new to pageantry, they might not even realize that Mrs. Pageants are actually kind of popular. There's actually a lot of Mrs. Pageants, but you got into the pageant industry first as a mom, right? So can you share a little bit about your experience in pageantry from that perspective, and then what got you interested in competing?
Well, many years ago, there was a girl that we knew from the dance studio, Amanda Pope, who's now Lieber, tried for a couple years. Come on, I think this would be perfect for Claudia. Come on, let her do it. I want to do it with her. Okay, so we did it. So she competed in her first Miss America or Miss Pennsylvania Outstanding Teen competition.
And that's your daughter, Claudia. How old was she at that time?
Was that 2011, 2012? So she was 11, 12, somewhere like that.
Okay, yeah.
Fourth grade, somewhere around there. The years are starting to merge together here as we're getting older. But so we went and we did it. And that's when I met Julianne Sheldon, and I had so much fun just being the backstage mom. I was theming the gowns, having a good old time, got to meet some new people. Claudia really enjoyed it. Well, then we progressed from there, and she advanced, and she did get to compete, and she did have a local title. And that progressed, and then she kind of aged out of the teen, and then she ended up going into another system, the Miss Pennsylvania International system, and she competed in that. And then we got to meet a lovely lady, Tammy Johns, at a showcase event for anti-bullying with Heather Habora. She puts on a showcase to raise money for that, and she was selected to be a Miss to compete in the Miss All-Star United States pageant. Well, I cracked a joke. She asked if I could inquire on a question for her. And Tammy in our conversation says, well, you do know that we have misses. And I went, oh, really? Claudia, what if I competed with you? Because I never did. I played sports growing up. Mm-hmm. I was always in the sports field. And so I just decided, and she's like, oh, I think it'd be great. We could be a mother, daughter. I'll be the miss. You'll be the missus. And next thing I know, I'm down in Savannah, Georgia last summer for my first ever pageant. Believe me, I went through all the emotions. I wasn't good enough. We had a lot of stuff going on personally in the background with health issues. And I did not regret one day, and I can't say anything too much because I will start crying because I just loved it so much. Yeah. But it was an opportunity to go outside the box and meet other misses who have gone through the same thing as us, where we did our education, we became wives, then we become moms, and we just got to have a chance to say, hey, I can walk on stage. And swimsuit, of course, I was terrified of, but I was kind of excited. Yeah. But when I came off stage on swimsuit, when I came behind Jamie, who ended up being the national title holder now, I was high-fiving her, and I wanted to go back on stage again. I was like, yes, I'm hooked. This is so much fun. It was at that point I was just like, okay, just get me through. Sweaty feet and all. Everybody knows about that joke. And it was fantastic. And it's now I'm getting to see a lot of other women and other misses and talk to them with the organization and how they're doing it and why are they doing it.
Yeah.
And
that's truly one of the things that I think is such a special skill that you have is connection. And even as you were just sharing that story, I heard you so many times like speak about the people themselves who led you through this experience and connected you to the next thing. It's like the connect the dots of life, that all these experiences lead us to the next thing. And I just think that's so cool about your story and so true just about you, that connections are so important, even in our coaching calls and stuff together, as you would bring up like, oh yeah, well, I have a friend and it would be a legitimate friend who can help you in some major way. And my friend who's a videographer. And it's like, wow, wouldn't it be great to just know somebody who's a videographer who would help you record your video, And you everywhere you go, you create those connections.
I try that. And I'm finding it more and more as I'm getting older and dealing with the fact that now Claudia's getting older. She's independent. She's not here as much. It's a whole different ball game. And I'm seeing like little innuendos and references going, hey, what about this? Or I'll hear about a Bible verse, or I'll hear about a saying. And even when I'm watching my Korean dramas,
which you love, which is hilarious. When you told me that was one of your favorite things to watch a Korean drama movie, I was like, oh, wait, what? Did I misunderstand you? What is it? And she's like knowing all of the celebrities are these people, and this one's in that show. And I'm like, it's like a whole subculture.
I have a no. I was actually, while we were waiting to do this, I'm like, okay, what can I, oh wait, that's the other drama. I have it on my TV right now on, it's so different. And I love the meanings they have behind the shows. Because I watch everything else, but I just really I like how they have the culture and the family and the respect for the elder and the food. I'm kind of nervous about trying some of the food. I'm kind of stuck on my General Tso's shrimp right about now. That's about as far as I go. But it's just, I just see how a lot of things are coming back to how I was when I was younger. Mm-hmm. Things didn't seem to bother me as much. And I was just like, hey, I want to do that. Let's go do it. Yeah. And just go on with it.
It's so true. And as a Mrs. Contestant, and now you've been competing for a couple of years now in that division. And it's so cool how, like you're describing, that you have all these new awarenesses because you've probably for the first time in a long time have time to think about it. When you're a busy mom and your kids are going to Mile a Minute and you got all these other things to manage, it's hard to take that time for just ourselves and to think through your own personal journey and, what you're getting from these types of experiences. What are some of the things that you think have been a byproduct that you've received as a member of competing in pageants? Like as a contestant, what do you think you've learned or grown through or received in that?
I've got to meet more people. I'm not big into politics or want to really discuss a lot of different things, but I like to learn what other people know. I might second guess myself and go, I'm not too bright in that category, but you know what? I met a nuclear physicist woman. Ooh. She was one of 5.
Wow.
And she's 75 now. Wow. And I met her yesterday. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to talk to you some more because she's like, there was only 5 of us when she started it. Wow. And I just I'm kind of caught between old school of where my parents grew up and the new generation. And it's trying to find yourself in the balance in the middle and say, okay, well, who am I that I want to go forward with? Yeah. So I like meeting people and say, okay, we might not agree, but hey, okay, now let's go into the next step and move along with that.
Totally. Yeah, you're so good at that. You do see that. And I think that's why your organization, that special touch, I think it really, all these elements that you're explaining, even the stuff that you love about the Korean dramas, all of those core values really relate to that special touch, really how you connect people and communities together to help people overcome situations or learn how to do new skills, and just that little bit of help that people might need for small things, even around the house, you know. Can you share a little bit about that special touch and kind of how it came to be?
Well, I grew up with my mom and my grandmother they would always be sewing. My mom was always down in her sewing room. Sometimes I think it was just to get away from my two brothers and I sometimes, just because she would hibernate down there.
Can't blame her. Hey, can't blame her.
Yeah, if you saw her sewing room, it's huge. But we were always involved with the church. We would go with St. Vincent de Paul and do different things, take the nuns to and from their new locations. I got blessed so many times. We would say a prayer when we were leaving. We would say a prayer when we were to leave, like arrive at the destination. And then we'd say another prayer when we were getting pushed off again. And we did clothing drives down to Kentucky and stuff. That when it came time for Claudia, when she was involved with the Outstanding Teen Organization, we were discussing, like, what do you want to do? Because they're big in the Children's Miracle Network. And I said, what can we do? What do you think is a good idea? At the time, we were starting with the gowns. So what we ended up doing is we started collecting gowns and cocktail dresses. And we had some people donating a good bit of them. And thank you to my mother. They're all in her house because she doesn't have a dog or a cat. So we keep everything down there. And that's where we do a lot of our sewing down there, too, because it's just a little bit more convenient. Plus, we hang out down there. But we started collecting them so that girls and women who couldn't really afford to buy them could come and rent them, and then that money would go towards Children's Miracle Network at that time. Wow. Well, then it kept progressing, and since I would always tend to get involved with a lot of outside events, like, hey, can you help me with this? Hey, can you help me sew a cover for my rocker, for the nursery, for like my niece, different things like that. Or can you help us in our yard, clean out the weeds? Okay, fine. So what we did is it's now progressed into that I use it to promote other avenues that I want to do. Like, I've gotten involved with Beverly's Birthdays, which is a big organization here in Pennsylvania, where they supply birthday parties to children in the area that don't ever receive birthdays. Oh. And last year it was such an honor or not even so much an honor, but it was so exciting that the Thursday of the pageant, we were getting ready to go for a scavenger hunt. And while we're at the breakfast, on the big flat screen is Beverly's Birthdays down at the point, and they're getting honored by Good Morning America. Wow. So there's a big picture of us going with our Beverly's Birthdays t-shirts on and well, we didn't have our crowns on. We were running around, but our sashes. Yeah. And there they are getting, honored. I went, oh my gosh, this is so exciting.
Yeah, so it's like coming full circle, right? It's like those two worlds colliding, again in such a perfect timing.
Yeah, so now we're just trying to get it to where we can branch out. I found being involved with the theater and the high school again through my daughter, there's some things that people just don't know how to do. Like, a lot of people don't know how to sew a button on or how to hang a pair of pants properly.
I know that's one of your pet peeves. You're like, these kids today don't know how to hang their pants. And I can agree. I'm not sure I'm hanging my pants correctly.
If you'd see my room, or crooked ties. Ask my husband about crooked ties. I can't. I want to reach for the TV set and go, please let me fix your tie. Can't stand it. Everybody do something. Yeah. But just to kind of get back to the basics that I was learning when I was younger. Simple things like how to cut the grass. Like just go out and help people with what they need. Like, a lot of times, I was never really comfortable being out front. Okay, Claudia, you go do it. You're perfect on stage. My husband, he could do it too. Yeah. I was the camera person, always behind. But I'm finding I always wanted to do that, but I didn't have the gumption or whatever you want to say. And working with you and working with people or friends and just trying to get back, it's like, you know what, I can do this. And now I want to give that back to other people. I want to say, okay, in some videos, I'm going to talk to people I know who are plumbers. electricians. I have a friend who's a baker right next to my office. She's going to help me do little bakery things and just what I might not be able to do, but be able to say, hey, you want to learn how to do it? Here's a simple little thing you can do, and just work on a little series with that.
I love it. Yeah, the evolution of that special touch is so cool because it's evolved as you have evolved. So, starting just from working with your daughter, Claudia, and the ideas that you guys were able to create together to serve your community and to serve her goals at that time within the Children's Miracle Network and others. And then to watch that grow over time to what it is now, all of the projects that you've done with Beverly's birthdays and others. And then to see that future vision of now bringing it online and allowing people and sharing skills that I love what you're describing here. You've got such a huge network of people that have strong, deep skills in so many areas, plumbing and baking and, these types of things that not everybody is just, you can't be a jack of all trades of those deep type of things. Yeah. So it's so cool, this vision you have to bring that information and kind of use it as an opportunity to teach other people the specifics of that. I just think that's awesome. Oh, and the mask project that you did, that was such perfect timing, when the COVID-19 hit and then all of a sudden everybody needs masks. Can you share how that happened and share that story? I just think this is brilliant, how you were able to come to the need at a very specific time and use the skill set of sewing that you had.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with everything that was starting to happen, I was like, well, do I want to get involved? Like, what all was involved? And then my best friend from high school, hi, Lisa, who's always by my, she's always retrieving me on different things. But she's like, hey, can you help out her daughter? She has a friend in Florida. She needs masks. That's when everything was really like you couldn't get anything. And she, I believe, worked with in cancer-related medicine. I said, sure, I can put together a couple of them and ship them down to her. Well, then a couple days later, somebody went and had a post on Facebook. Hey, I got a question about, I think it was about elastic or something. And I just replied, oh, well, this is what I did. When I woke up the next morning on Saturday, my jaw dropped, and my husband's drinking coffee on the couch going, dear, there's people who want to pay me to make these masks. I said, I don't want paid. I felt weird. And I had all this fabric, so I knew I had it for a while, so I knew it was clean and free. Yep, so I didn't have to go buy anything. So then we ended up, one thing led to another, and we just decided, hey, I don't want paid for it. Let's just do $1 donation. And everything went to Beverly's birthdays. And because I know they were starting to struggle because they were running out of supplies for what they do. And one thing led to another, and that special touch, and somehow my link got shared to another Facebook page. It was like trying to sew and retrieve messages at the same time. So it ended up after several weeks, I was able to make over 1,000 masks and donate over $1,000 some for Beverly's birthdays. Wow. And then I'm still getting requests here, for people saying, hey, can you help me out? I need some masks. So now I did that. And that was, I believe, the third major event that I did for Beverly's. So probably a little over $3,000, $3,500 we've raised for them in a couple years.
That's incredible. And to think that I love projects like that allow you from your abundance. You're like, I already have the fabric, which you're right. At that time, it was so hard to even buy fabric. I have a friend who's a fashion designer, and she started making masks at that same time and said that there were actually fabric stores that were going out of business because some big conglomerate was buying all of the fabric and then increasing the price so much because people needed it. And they knew, well, people need it, they'll pay whatever they want. And so it was like, so to have that fabric at your own house, it's like threads of gold, like, haha, I could do this, And it's just incredible to think you were able to just use that and your skill set and your time, which I know it takes a ton of time. And I think your mom helped you with that, and you gathered some community members to help even in the delivery and stuff. It's just awesome to see what was created with your leadership to gather the important elements together and then to serve in such a big way at such a very pivotal moment in time.
Yeah, I was very grateful for my mom on that again, because I'd go down there because her sewing table was my grandmother's. So it's over 100 years old, and it has the marks to show it, and it just worked out perfect. I had to streamline my pattern down a few so I could get them out faster. But it was nice because I could just go down there, lay out the fabric. Had to keep telling her to stay away from me, though, because it was like, Mom, please. Yeah. I still have to go out in the public. If something happens to you, I'm in the doghouse. And she didn't care. She'd still be like, I'm like, Mom, please just go around the other way of the sewing table. But it worked out. So we ended up tag teaming, which we do that a lot of. And that's another thing that's very important to me is knowing that down the road, I have that time with her. Mm-hmm. And because you don't know what's going to happen.
That's right.
So, sorry, didn't want to do that.
Oh. But you're right. And I know that family is such an important core value of yours. And it's so cool to hear that story that it was your grandmother's sewing machine and all of the things that sewing machine has probably seen from her years and your mom's and now through you. She would be probably so proud that you are still using that same machine. And I'm sure it works better than new sewing machines. Like that table is probably like awesome. They don't make them like they used to, right?
Yeah, and it's like my mom even she had this old Kenmore that she had for years. She made silk dresses for me, seat covers for my brother's dump trucks, stuff for other people. Yeah. We made my godchild's baptismal outfit, and she wanted to go out and spend like $500 on a sewing machine, and my dad kind of threw a wrench in there, and instead of going and spending that, she went and spent $3,000. Because he made her mad after 40-some years of marriage. Yeah, so that's kind of like a joke in our family. And I said, well, Dad, unfortunately, you really pushed Mom to the limit. But you know what? She always used it. Mm-hmm. So it's really nice. And that's what I want to try and spread to other people is, try and be resourceful. Yeah. Like I think a lot of times people just, let's just go buy something new. Well, I grew up with the can of bolts and nuts and the music boxes that my dad took apart, and I'd sit and play with them. So I want to try and get back to the basics with people and the kids to say, look, you can do this because how do you want to use your money? Do you want to spend all your money on this? Or try and do it this way, and then you have more money to go do that other event or that other thing you want to do.
100%.
And help people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to serve people in an area of need. Yeah. That is awesome. Wow, Barbara, I just adore you. I just want to take a minute and gush on you a little bit because it's been such an honor working with you truly over the last several months now in preparation for your pageant. But it's been so fun to just get to know you, to get to know your heart and how pure it is to truly serve people. And in every area you do that, in your work, in your playtime, your free time, your family time, in your organizational time, all of that is spent to just serve others. It's so evident. And I'm so glad that you are now a contestant in pageantry and not just Claudia, because I truly believe that you're going to be able to bring so much to the title and to encourage others to do exactly what you're doing, to bring that special touch and to learn those skills to get us back to basics so that we're able to truly advance. So thank you for the work that you're doing in the world. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. It means a lot. Yeah. I think the people that are in the background sometimes can do a lot. Yes. Where they're doing so much in the background that they don't have to be out in the front.
That's right.
Because they could just go and get the work done.
So true. And those are important. That's an important role to play. To your point, like it's vital actually that we have people that are able and willing to serve in that way. So that's awesome. So I want to just share that Special Touch is on Facebook. So Barbara does have a Facebook page. You can go to facebook.com/TST Special Touch. And that's how you can get on her Facebook page so you can see all the cool stuff that she is doing there and connect with her to learn more about that special touch, how you can get involved or how you can contribute to some of the causes that she is passionate about. So Barbara, thank you again for being on the show today. I so appreciate having you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate everything the last couple months. It makes me feel a lot better in what I want to do and get down that railroad track of getting to where I want to go.
That's awesome. Well, you're certainly in the right place and you're on the right track, my dear. Good luck in your next step of competition, and we can't wait to follow up with you afterward.
Okay. Thanks.